Welcome to the final video. I'm going to cover learning targets number 5 and 6 for this video because 6 is really short. So we'll cover 5. It'll take a little bit of time because this is a big learning target right here. But then we'll get to 6. Okay, go ahead and flip to page number, I think it's 6 in your, no, it's 7. It's page 7 in your notes. Should look something like this. That's 5. Right there we go. Okay, so here's your learning target, guys. I can define unit rate, and I can express the meaning of a unit rate in words. So you can really explain to me what it means. This is a little bit tricky. Now you guys already know what unit rate is. Again, I've already covered this on review sheets. I've been putting them on there ahead of time to get you guys thinking about it. That way when we got to it, it wasn't that hard because this unit right here can be difficult for students. So you guys have already, gotten that first look at it. Okay, first of all, what a unit rate is, kind of the basic definition that I'm going to give you is basically a unit rate, and it's right here, is basically per one of something. Okay, an example, and I'd like you to write this, an example of this would be, okay, I can get 5 basketballs for $105. I'm sorry, what am I doing? That didn't even make sense. I'm sorry. I apologize if you wrote that. Just scribble it off. I really apologize. 1 basketball so it's let's say $10 for a 1 basketball. Okay, the 1 is always in the denominator. Okay, that's the structure we always have. Okay, we're always trying to figure out how much of one of something, or maybe you're saying, okay, it costs, this is another example, I don't know why I'm writing it up there, but another example, $5.22 for 1 pound of turkey, something like that, like lunch meat. That is what unit rate is. It's all about finding one of something, because if you can figure out how much one costs, and a lot of times we do it with money. That's when we do it. Probably it's the most relevant is when we have money, because we figure out how much one of whatever costs, and then we can figure out how many. If we want to buy 7 or 8 or 12 of them or whatever, we just multiply by however many we're getting. Okay, so keep in mind the one, wherever you're finding your unit rate. So whatever your unit rate is, meaning you're finding how much of 1 always goes in the denominator. That's important. I will be kind of picky about that. So for instance, here's an example. It has a 15:5 ratio. So basically characters, I think, would just mean like, characters when you're typing or whatever. Okay, and you can basically type 15 characters in 5 seconds, essentially is what it's saying. Okay, which is good, but obviously we want to know, okay, well, how much can I type in 1 second? So the unit rate that was found here is they figured out how many characters they can type in 1 second. Okay, and it's not like they had a stopwatch and they said, okay, go for 1 second. Okay, ready, go, stop. It doesn't work that way. They time them out over a long period of time. Well, 5 seconds isn't that long, and then they do it. So here's how we do this unit rate problem. I erased that up there because it's kind of given to you, but this is what you're going to look like. This is what you've been seeing on review sheets. So this should look no different. This is exactly how I taught it to you guys from day one. Okay, we write the ratio in fraction form. Now we're trying to figure out how many characters in 1 second. So we just got to determine, okay, what did we do to go from 5 to 1? Well, remember, anything divided by itself will always equal 1. So that's going to be divided by 5. And then what you do to the denominator, I'm going to call it that, I shouldn't, but the second term of a ratio, if you do that to the second term of the ratio, then you got to do that to your other term. That was everything about learning target number 4. We did all that work on equivalent ratios and all that, and right here, this is an equal sign. So that tells you right now that is what it means. Okay, we do 15 divided by 5. We know that we are typing 3 characters per second. And the word per is used a lot when you're talking about unit rate. Okay, so let's go down here. Samantha picked 45 oranges in 5 minutes. I think we had a similar example to this earlier. Write this rate as a unit rate. Okay? Now again, I'm just going to get rid of this. I know you have it. You don't have to worry about scribbling it out or anything. I just want to show you how I would attack this problem. It wants this as a unit rate. So there's two ways I could do the unit rate technically. I could figure out how many oranges in 1 minute she picked, or I could figure out the number of minutes it took for one orange. Okay? That might seem really weird. Okay? So again, I'm going to repeat that because I think that's a hard thing for students to learn. Unit rate, there's always 2 units in every ratio. Okay? We're comparing oranges to minutes. So when you're talking unit rate, you can, in this example, we could figure out how many oranges she picks in 1 minute, or we could figure out how many minutes it takes for her to pick one orange. Now, if you think about this for a minute, one of these doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay? Would they both work? Yeah. But there's always not always, but most of the time there's one that's better than the other. And I think it's clearly this one. Okay? To figure out how many oranges she picks in 1 minute, it helps us a heck of a lot more than, okay, how many minutes does it take her to pick one orange? Okay? It doesn't matter how you do it. I'm going to show you both. Okay? Now, this is saying a rate. So whenever you see rate, you know it's going to be over time, so it's going to be this one. But I'm going to show you why both of those make sense, both of these that are highlighted up here. So first of all, I'm going to start with my ratio. So 45 oranges, and I'm going to put OR for oranges in 5 minutes. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the one I circled here. So I'm going to figure out how many oranges that Samantha could pick in 1 minute. Okay. So I look at it and say, okay, what did I do to go from 5 to 1? Well, you divide it by 5. So equivalent ratios, we know whatever you do to the second term, you must do to the top term. 45 divided by 5 would mean she picks 9 oranges per minute. Now that's all great. Now I know that the answer is there, and I just basically rewrote what was there. But now let me show you exactly what this one would be all about. Okay. So now we want to flip it, because now we're putting minutes in the first term and oranges in the second term. So I'm going to write it like this, and I'm not intending to confuse you. What I'm about to do probably doesn't make a ton of sense, but I just want you to see how this works. So I got the same ratio. It doesn't matter. These ratios are the exact same. I hope you guys see why. 45 oranges in 5 minutes is what I'm saying there. Down here I'm just saying, okay, it takes me 5 minutes to pick 45 oranges. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay? So now I'm going to do an equivalent ratio. Okay? Only now I'm going to say I want to know how long does it take me, how many minutes does it take for me to pick one orange. Okay, so notice my labels never change. Okay, I always keep minutes on the top. I always kept oranges on the bottom. So what did I do to go from 45 to 1? Well, I divided by 45. Remember, anything divided by itself is always 1. So that means we need to do divide by 45. Now the biggest thing that I see students do when they do this is right here. They make this mistake. They type it in, they go 45 divided by 9, and they get 5. And they say, okay, 5 minutes. It took 5 minutes to pick one orange. And I look at them and say, wait a minute. Or not, I didn't mean 5, I meant 9. But regardless, they do 45 divided by 9, they get 9 minutes. And I say, no, does that even make sense? She picked 45 oranges in 5 minutes, and your unit rate is telling me that she picked 9. It took her 9 minutes to pick one? Come on. She didn't even spend 9 minutes picking. Okay? Let alone, in 5 minutes, she was able to get a lot more than one. Okay? So the mistake that students make is it's all about order once again. I am saying this divided by 45 equals 1. So that means I got to do 5 divided by 45. The order matters. So 5 divided by 45 is going to be a really small decimal. 0.1 repeating. Okay? So essentially, this is what this means now. That it takes her 0.1 repeating minutes. Let me write that. 0.1 repeating minutes to pick one orange. Now, as you guys sit there, look at them for me. Look at these two. Look at the two unit rates I just did. I got that one, and I got that one. Which one do you think actually makes sense? Which one helps me determine how good she is at picking oranges? I hope you're all saying this one right here. Because I know when I think 1 minute, she can pick 9 in 1 minute, that helps me. But if you tell me, oh, yeah, she picks one orange in 0.1 minutes, I don't even know what 0.1 minutes is. Doesn't mean it's 1 minute. I can tell you that. It just, who knows what it means? It's it just doesn't help us. Okay? But I am trying to show you that there is 2 ways to do unit rate. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. An adult's heartbeat beats about 2,100 times every 30 minutes. A baby's heart beats about 2,600 times every 20 minutes. I'm going to actually skip this one for now because I think this is more chapter 5. So I'm just going to skip it. Don't even worry about it. We'll learn it. It just won't be right now. Okay, Emma, I think, downloaded 35 songs in 5 minutes. Right there's your ratio. Bang. How many songs did she download per minute? Now this one doesn't give you an option of how to. And I'll show you what I mean up here. Even up on this one that we just did, it doesn't really say, but never mind. You have your ratio, 35 songs. It looks like gongs. 35 songs in 5 minutes. Now, whenever you're doing unit rate, the first thing I want you to do is this, guys. I want you to come over here and put your labels on there because songs will always be on top. Minutes will be on the bottom when you're doing unit rate. Your units matter. I put minutes on the bottom because it said I want to know how many songs she can download in per minute, which means per 1 minute. You can write that over here. Per would mean 1. Okay, so I knew I had to put minutes on the bottom because I knew that had to be 1 because our unit rate, the 1 always has to be in the second term. Okay, so 5 divided by 5, that gives me 1. That's easy. And then up here, I'm going to do 35 divided by 5, and I'm going to get 7. So I know she can download 7 songs in 1 minute. Okay. Now, you don't have to write what I'm about to write, but I just want to show you. I could also write this like this. 5 minutes. It takes me 5 minutes to download 35 songs. If I wanted to figure out, okay, how many minutes does it take for me to do 1 song, that's also a unit rate. Doesn't make sense. It's just like the one we did up there. But you could do it. Okay, it doesn't matter. Dividing by 35. Dividing by 35. I won't punch it in my calculator, but it's a decimal again. Okay? So, but this one didn't give you the option. It said it wanted to know how many songs per minute. That told you right there that you knew it was going to have to be over 1 minute, your second ratio. Go to the next page. Jonathan is baking several loaves of bread to sell in his bakery. He used 9 cups of water and 12 cups of whole wheat flour. How much water was used per cup of flour? Wow. So we're talking per 1 cup of flour. So right away, I always start with just this right here. You start with this is a proportion, but you guys don't know that as really yet. But this is a proportion, 2 equivalent ratios or 2 equivalent fractions. Okay? And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to determine where am I going to put my cup of flour? Is it going to go here? I mean, is flour going to go here or water going to go here? I hope you're all saying flour's got to go here. Okay? And the reason is because again, it's telling you exactly what we want. It wants to know how much water per 1 cup. So you know that this has got to be cup of flour. Okay? So to go back to the original ratio here, this is going to be 9 cups of water compared to 12 cups of flour. Okay? So now let's look and let's say, okay, what would I do to go from 12? By the way, I'm going to put a W there. To 12 to go to 1, I'm going to divide by 12. So then I got to do 9 divided by 12. Again, order matters. I do 9 divided by 12, and I get 0.75. What that tells me is that I use 0.75 cups of water for every 1 cup of flour that I use. That's the unit rate. Okay? Okay, you can use what you know about unit rates to find the unit price. The unit price is cost per unit. That's what we've been doing. So unit price, unit price is just like unit rate. Okay? It's how much one cost, essentially, is what it is, which is what we've been doing on review sheets since day one. Okay, I have, what was that one we had? 5 basketballs, cost $95 or whatever it was. Find the unit rate. Find the unit price. What that means is you want to figure out how much one basketball cost. Okay, so the example they have here, it costs $36 for 4 tickets. So then we want to figure out how much one ticket costs. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Okay. 4 potted plants cost $88. What is the price per plant? So plants had to go in the denominator, and then we went from 4 to 1 by doing divide by 4. So we got to do the same thing up here. Each plant costs $22. Okay? Go to the next page. Okay? For Caroline, let's just make it an E for Caroline. For Caroline's birthday, her mom took her and 4 friends to a water park. I should have said soccer game because that really did happen. But her mom took her and 4 friends to a water park. Caroline's mom paid $40 for 5 student tickets. What was the price for 1 student ticket? So here we go. We got $40 over 5 tickets. I want to know how much 1 ticket costs. What did I do to go from 5 to 1? Divide by 5. What do I do up here? Divide by 5. $8 per ticket. That's it, guys. It's very easy. It tells you what you want to know right there. It gives you where the one's going to go, where the unit price is. Okay. Okay. 12 pounds for $3. This is what I talked about just a minute ago as far as unit rates can be shown in 2 ways. Okay, so I gave you this lunch meat example. I think I already did one like it, but here it is. $12 for 3 pounds. So that's how much. You could say it both ways. You could say, okay, it's 3 pounds for $12, or you could say it's $12 for 3 pounds. Doesn't matter how you say it. And when I ask you for the unit rate, on this one here, you could actually give me the money per pound, so how much it costs per 1 pound, or you could give me the number of pounds per dollar. So I don't know how many pounds and how much that is for $1. Okay? So if we were going to do that, let's think. Okay? So first of all, if we're going to do dollar amount per pound, that means pounds has to be in the denominator. So there we go. I start with my units, just like that. Dollars, pounds. And I know that I want to figure out per pound, which means 1 pound. I know that I would go, okay, divide by 3. Divide by 3. That gives me $4 per pound. That's what it is, 4 per pound. Okay? But if I was going to do it on like number 2, and I'll do that in red, okay? In red, now I got to do it the other way. I got to put 3 pounds on top and then $12 on the bottom, because now I'm figuring out how much lunch meat I can get for $1. Okay? It's the same process, guys. Instead now, I am dividing by 12. Dividing by 12. Okay? And you do 3 divided by 12, and you're going to get 0.25. So how much is that? That is 0.25 of a pound. You can get 1/4 of a pound for $1. That's it. That's it, guys. And both of these actually make sense. They both are relevant. This tells you, okay, I got $1 in my pocket. I'm saying this one right here. I have $1 in my pocket. I want to see how much lunch meat I can get. Well, now you know. You can get 0.25 of a pound. Let's say I only need 4 pounds of lunch meat. I'm sorry. I only need 1 pound of lunch meat. That's how much I need. I need to know how much money to take to the store. Oh, now I know. I need $4. Okay. Let's go on. Now, a lot of times unit price is used for finding better buy. I do it all the time. Okay. I'll be in one store, whether I'm in Target or if I'm in another place or whatever, and well, actually, you know what? Let me do this one first, and then I'll talk about that. Okay, so here you can see there's your ratio right there. 12 notebooks for $27. Now I want to find the notebooks per dollar, and then I want to do dollar per notebook. Okay, so the first one here, I'm going to do 12 notebooks. I'm going to go N for notebooks, and then $27 in the denominator. Okay, and I'm going to figure out how many notebooks I can get for $1 because that's what it tells me. Okay, so I know going from 27 to 1 is divided by 27. I know going from 12 to divided by 27, that is going to give me 12 divided by 27 is going to give me 0.4 repeating, which we'll just put that. So that's 0.4 repeating notebooks. And then over here, I'm doing dollar per notebook, so it should be dollars. How much money per notebook is what it should say. Let's just do that. Cross it off and put money per notebook. So now we're going to write it the other way. I'm going to put $27 in the top term, and then I'm going to put 12 notebooks in the bottom, because remember, the one, wherever you're trying to find one of, always has to be in the bottom. So what did I do to go from 12 to 1? Well, I divide by 12. What did I do to go from 27? I'm going to divide by 12. Let's do it. Let's see how much money that is for one notebook. So 27 divided by 12. It costs $2.25. Now, you guys tell me which unit rate which unit rate legitimately helps you. If you really want to know something about these notebooks and their cost, which unit rate helps you? It's got to be this one, right? So if this was B and this one's here A, it's got to be B, right? Because last I checked, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure you can't buy a partial notebook. I don't think Walmart would allow that. Okay, so by finding out how much you can get for $1, it's kind of silly. It doesn't really help you. Okay? Yeah, okay, so now I know that I can get a partial notebook for $1, but they don't sell partial notebooks. So this is ridiculous. Doesn't mean it's not right. It's still a unit rate, but it's not great in the real world. Whereas this over here, now I know, okay, let's say I didn't want to buy 12 notebooks. I want to buy 4 of them. Well, now I know that I can just multiply that amount by 4 because I'm buying 4 of them, and one costs this. Okay, go to the next page. Last page, almost done. Okay, here we go. 20 ounces of cereal for $3.99. So let's go ahead and start with our ratio. So there's 20 ounces of cereal. I'll just put OZ, and we'll know what it is, for $3.99. Now, it says write it in 2 different ways because it's always possible to write it in 2 different ways. Whether it makes sense or not, we'll see. So we'll start there. Okay, there we go. Okay, now, over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how many ounces I can get for $1. Okay, that makes sense. And over here, I'm going to figure out how much cereal I get. I'm sorry, I want to figure out how much money it costs for 1 ounce of cereal, if that makes sense. Okay, so to go from here to here, I divide it by $3.99. And then I got to do that to the top. So bring up my calculator again. I'm going to do 20 divided by $3.99. Okay, 5.01. So that means I can get 5.01 ounces for $1. Okay, over here I'm trying to figure out exactly how much it costs for just 1 ounce, because maybe they sell it by the ounce. I don't know. So now let's do the same thing again, same process. Notice my 1, whatever my units is that's 1 is always in the denominator. So $3.99 divided by 20 is going to give me, did I do that right? I think I typed something wrong. Let me make sure. I think that was right, but $3.99 divided by 20. Okay, and you got to think about how much money that is. We'd round right here to the pennies. That's going to actually be 20 cents. 20 cents. So realistically, both of these actually make sense, realistically. I mean, they really do. Both unit rate makes sense. Over here, I'm learning that, okay, I can get 5.01 ounces, basically just over 5 ounces for $1. And over here, I'm learning, okay, 1 ounce costs 20 cents. That actually makes sense. Okay? And we'll skip that next one. Okay, now learning target 6. This is so easy. This will take less than a minute. given a ratio or unit rate, I can model the situation. So basically, model the following: 8 rectangles to 2 triangles. So look, my bunch of first graders. Just kidding. It's just very, very elementary. I think you guys get the picture here. It's just modeling. Draw your 8 rectangles and your 2 triangles. And there's your 2 triangles. Okay. Very, very basic stuff. Model the unit rate of rectangles to triangles. Don't even worry about it. So that's that. It's just modeling. You can model any ratio. You could model a unit rate. I think that's what this is asking for, this unit rate. So it's 8 to 2, which we know the unit rate would be 4 to 1. Okay, so modeling it would be your 4 rectangles and your 1 triangle. It's the same thing. Okay, we already covered that in Learning Target 5 video. Okay, so that's the last video. So sorry this one ran a little bit longer than they usually do, but I think it was well worth it. So see you guys.